All right, let's dive into something that's really shaking up the wine world. We're talking about a potential solution to a huge, growing crisis that could seriously change what you're pouring into your glass. We're talking about PIW grapes, and trust me, you're going to want to know why they might just be the future of wine.
So, to really get why these new grapes are such a big deal, you have to start with a pretty serious question. You know that classic Chardonnay or Cabernet Sauvignon you love? Is its future certain? Well, the answer, and it's a tough one, is no. Traditional winemaking is up against a challenge like never before. In the heart of it all is a crisis that's playing out right now in vineyards all over the world. See, climate change isn't some far-off idea. For wine growers, it is here. Temperatures are rising, messing with the super delicate schedules that grapes need to grow perfectly. And, those extreme weather events, they're becoming the new, very stressful normal. Now, here's where it all connects. Those warmer, wetter conditions, they're basically a perfect breeding ground for fungal diseases. So to fight those off, growers have to depend more and more on chemical sprays. But those sprays can damage the soil and the little ecosystem in the vineyard. Throw in the fact that water is getting scarcer, and you've got this perfect storm of problems, both for the environment and the farmer's wallet. Okay, enough of the bad news. Because in the middle of all this pressure, a hero is kind of emerging. So let's meet the PIWI grape. It's an innovation that was designed from the ground up to deal with exactly these problems. You can think of it as the fungus-resistant grape. So what on earth is a PIWI? Well, it stands for a German word, get ready for it, Pilzwiderstandsfähig. Yeah, try saying that 3 times fast. All it means is fungus resistant. And what these grapes are is basically the best of both worlds. They're created by taking the delicious, complex flavors of classic European grapes and crossbreeding them with tough, naturally disease-resistant wild grapes from America or Asia. Now, how they do this is so important to understand because it is not GMO. This is old-school, patient, natural plant breeding. Think of it like how we got the Honeycrisp apple. A breeder picks a flavor parent, say a really tasty Cabernet Sauvignon, and a resistance parent. They just cross-pollinate them, plant the seeds, and then they wait. For years, sometimes decades, they grow and test the new vines looking for that one perfect plant that has amazing flavor and can fight off disease all on its own. So let's just hammer this point home. PIWI breeding is a natural process. It's about working with nature over a long, long time. GMOs, on the other hand, happen in a lab where scientists directly alter genes. Big difference. PIWIs are about pollination, not gene splicing. Okay, so we know what they are, and just as important, what they aren't. So what's the big deal? What are these sustainable superpowers that make them so important for, well, everyone? The planet, the farmer, and yeah, you. If you only remember one single thing from this, make it this number. Because they're naturally resistant to fungus, PIWI grapes can slash the need for chemical fungicide sprays by up to 80, even 90%. I mean, that's not a small improvement. That is an absolute game changer. And from that one incredible fact, you get this whole cascade of amazing benefits. For the environment, fewer tractors spraying means a lower carbon footprint and healthier soil, letting the whole vineyard buzz with life again. For the winemaker, it's a huge weight off their shoulders, lower costs and way less risk of losing their crop. And for you, the wine drinker, you get a cleaner wine with far fewer residues. And maybe best of all, when there's less chemical meddling, the wine can more purely express its terroir, that unique sense of place that makes wine so special. All right, science class is over. They're sustainable, they're smart, but let's get to the one question that's been on all of our minds, right? How do they actually taste? Come on, let's meet a few of these rising stars. Here's just a little taste. For white wine lovers, there's Solaris. It's super aromatic, fruity, fresh. Then there's Johanniter. If you're a fan of crisp, elegant Riesling, you are going to love this one. It's got all those great citrus and mineral notes. For reds, you've got Regent, which is just smooth and packed with dark cherry and blackberry. And Cabernet Cortis, which is related to Cabernet Sauvignon, gives you that classic structure and complexity you'd expect. And this right here, this is the whole philosophy. It's so crucial. The best PIW winemakers are not trying to make a knockoff Chardonnay or a copycat Merlot. No way. They are all about celebrating the unique, delicious character of these new grapes, letting them tell their own story from their own little patch of earth. So we've seen where they come from and what they can do. Where are they headed?
what does the future actually hold for PIW grapes? Well, they've come a really long way, but the journey to your glass still has a few bumps in the road. This isn't some overnight trend that just popped up. The idea of crossbreeding for strength actually started way back in the 1800s, but it's really been in the last couple of decades, with the urgency of climate change, that the whole movement has just taken off. And now, the big goal is getting mainstream acceptance. And really, the two biggest hurdles are perception and paperwork. Winemakers have to fight this old stigma against so-called hybrid grapes, and a lot of the famous traditional wine regions have these really strict old laws about what you're allowed to plant. But as more and more seriously delicious, high-quality PIW wines get out there, those old barriers are definitely starting to crumble. Which really just leaves us with one last fascinating question. When you think about it, with their blend of sustainability, smart innovation, and genuinely exciting new flavors, these grapes aren't just a weird curiosity. They are a real, compelling vision for the future of wine. So I guess the only question is, are you ready to taste it?